So I wanted to put that in perspective because the title, the theme of this conference, of the urgency of now, is a very serious issue. And a lot of times it's easy for us to be talking heads to get up there and do that. But I remember that, you know, I'm an old man, I'm 63, I was in my 20s, 40s, I'm sorry, when that happened.
Looking good, Dr. Mack.
But thank you, man.
You're wise, not old.
No doubt about that. But let me get the pleasantries out of the way first. To President Harris and President Flood, thank you so much for the invitation. Those of you who are on the executive committee, thank you. Those of you who are members of the NAACP, thank you.
Yeah.
And the friends and family who need to become members of the NAACP, I will thank you. Pastor Johnson, I want to thank you so much, man. I've had a chance to talk with that brother on just he and I, just black man to black man. You're a beautiful brother, and thank you so much for the invitation here. Thank you for your leadership in this community. Much, much respect. Much, much respect. And then Sister Gardner, Madam President, you came from Spokane. Thank you so much for joining us. And Sister Kimberly, that spoken word was absolutely amazing. I don't know if Lady V and her band is still here, but I will say this to you all. I've been to a lot of these NAACP functions. The chicken here was so much better than it has been. And then Lady V and her band, I don't know what's wrong with y'all, man. That sister in that band was absolutely incredible. That's first of all. Second of all, I don't know if I've ever seen a band where damn near everybody in there could be the lead singer. So, absolutely incredible. So with that being said, and if, hopefully I haven't missed anybody, but Sister Chastity, you made a statement about aggressive discomfort. That shit sounds good to a lot of y'all, but that's the way we were built that way. But I'm gonna tell you why we were built that way. But let's get inside this thing, the urgency of now. And I always like to look at things in the most quintessential manner. And the word urgency means that something has happened to create, it's a catalyst that causes you to either move forward or you're gonna just stay where you are. But something has happened that calls for your urgent attention. That's what urgency means to me. But for anybody who's ever studied history, black folks have always had urgency.
Come on.
In 1619, when we were stolen from our lands and brought here, it was urgent. On July 4th, 1776, when they issued that Declaration of Independence and officially wrote us out of that all men created equal, it was urgent for us. On March 6th, 1857, when Chief Justice Roger B. Taney sat on that U.S. Supreme Court and ruled in that Dred Scott decision and made the statement that at the time of the formation of the Constitution that it was universally upheld that black folks had no rights by which whites had to respect. It was urgent for us. On April 12, 1861, when them traitors that formed the Confederacy fired on Fort Sumter and declared war and told the whole world we will go to war to keep your ancestors enslaved, it was urgent for us. On January 1st, 1863, when Abraham Lincoln signed a righteous executive order known as the Emancipation Proclamation, and said, for those black folks who were held in slavery in states in rebellion against the Union, I hereby declare you to be free. For those of you who are enslaved in those 4 southern states that did not leave the Union, slavery still exists. But more importantly, for those black folks who want to take up arms and fight for your freedom, welcome to the fight. It was urgent for us on that day. On December 6th, 1865, Brother Carl told you that on that day, the 13th Amendment was ratified when Georgia became the 27th of 36 states to ratify that proposal that abolished slavery. It was still urgent for us. Yeah, we're free. Where we gonna go? What we gonna do? It was urgent for us. In 1934, after having been with the Republican Party, because Lincoln was the president of the Republican Party, But in 1934, it became urgent when we noticed that that Republican Party was no longer carrying our interest. And we then voted in the first black man ever to serve in Congress as a Democrat. It was urgent for us that year. It was urgent for us on August 28, 1963, when 250,000 of us and our closest friends marched on Washington. It was urgent in 2008 when we elected the first black POTUS ever. It was urgent for us. And in 2024, right now, when they just elected a 34-time convicted felon rapist, it's urgent for us. But now let me take you back to my childhood of Jackson, Mississippi. Went to an all-black high school. So the little sister, when you was talking about what it is to be around us, grew up around us with some beautiful folks. Go back, stay with that, so baby girl, stay with us. Okay? Don't mean we don't like hanging with y'all, but shit, we like hanging with us. We like that. Unapologetic. Unapologetic. But when I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, my all-black high school, there was no urgency about civil rights. There was no urgency about the NAACP. My mama, my daddy, my friends, ain't nobody talking to me about no NAACP. I didn't even know what the acronym stood for. There was no urgency. When I went to Mississippi State and got that Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, what did they teach me about my blackness? No, I graduated from Mississippi State with a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, and I couldn't give you 100 words about the black experience. I was an educated fool. There was no urgency. And when I came to Seattle in 1987, the Emerald City, all liberal and shit, there was no urgency. So I ain't know nothing about the NAACP. And I ain't get involved with the NAACP. But that all changed on August 16, 1990. See, on that day, the veil was lifted. I could see. Now that veil was lifted because of history. So I started doing these Black History calendars. And I didn't know nothing about Black history, zero. But when I started getting inside this history, that's when the urgency came. Because it is impossible, it is absolutely impossible for you to study the experiences of us as a people in this country and you don't have respect for the NAACP. It is absolutely impossible. Now, you're that little shallow. The only reason you clap shallow is because you don't know our history. You can't tell me you know the history of the NAACP and give me this little nonsense. But now let me tell you what my mentor said, and I promise you, I ain't trying to make you feel good about a damn thing up in here. I'm telling you what's in my heart and soul. I'm telling you how history unlocked me. I went from being a visitor in this country to acting like an owner. Charles Hamilton Houston, who was at Howard University, who gave us this piece of advice. No, Carl, you don't ask them for what's yours. That's a birthright to you. Come on. I would rather die on my feet than live on my knees. I'm never walking into nobody's office talking about, please give me my civil rights, unless you ever loving mine up here. But my mentor, the late Dr. Jones from the University of Washington, gave me one of the most incredible pieces of advice that anybody has ever given me. And he said this. He said, Carl, history is definition. History is going to tell you what happened, when it happened, where it happened, and why it happened. So he said, I want you to remember this, son. He who defines rules. If you allow somebody else to define you, they will rule you. And I looked at how America co-opted definitions of our culture, our history, and I watch how effective they are. Since history is about definition, let's talk about some of these. Let's take, for instance, woke. They weaponize woke to make woke like it's something bad, but in its quintessential meaning, in its purest form, what does woke mean? It means to be aware. Well, I can tell you right now that when it comes to our history, our culture, most of us are still stay damn near in a coma. Woke means to be aware. And if you go historically back to, let's go back to 1827 when the first black newspaper was published, Freedom's Journal. And then let's move on up in time to the Baltimore Afro-American. And in 1904, And by the way, the Baltimore Afro-American is the oldest black-owned family business in this country. So when those publishers from those two papers, they had through their editorials told us, wake up, stay awake. Now, let's go back to 1931 in Scottsboro, Alabama, when arguably one of the most racially insane cases in the 20th century occurred, when 9 young black boys were arrested and accused of raping 2 white girls. Those 9 young brothers came to be known as the Scottsboro boys. And the NAACP was part of being a part of that, was a part of that victory. But there was an artist by the name of Leadbelly. Leadbelly in 1938 wrote a song aptly named the Scottsboro Boys. And at the end of that song, Leadbelly said to us, now if you find your way down in Alabama, you just be careful coming down here. Stay woke.
Come on.
That piece, that advice now permeated the culture. And when I was a child, I can remember whenever I would sojourn out of my all-black community, elders would say to me, Carl, stay woke. That was a way of telling me, you be careful when you go out there with them racist fools out there. Be careful, stay woke, child. That's where that wokeness come from. And because we don't understand that history, some of us, well, I ain't part of that wokeism. Then stay your ass asleep, because I'm wide awake. I was wide awake today, I was wide awake then. Trust me to believe all that. Now, let's talk about Black Lives Matter. Okay, I remember, historically speaking, when law enforcement started in this country, let's go back to, say, 1838, Boston, when we had the first publicly funded law enforcement agency. But from that day to this one, it ain't been no love between law enforcement and our community. How many times, I don't care where you, I don't care if you here in Bremerton or you down in Jackson, Mississippi, the run-ins, our dealings with law enforcement is far different from the rest of the country. You as white folks, you don't have to sit down with your little children and tell them how they have to behave when law enforcement pulls up behind them. I don't give a damn if you're an engineer or a drug runner. When those blue lights come up behind us, something happens inside of us because we know the history of dealing with them thugs. Yeah, I call them thugs. I ain't never respected unlawful law enforcement. And if any of you want to think that they were officer friendly, hell, I remember when I went to Brown Elementary, they had career day. The police come in there, he was officer friendly. Ain't never been officer friendly to me as a grown black man. We know this. We've tried to tell America this. And no matter what we said, you, America, told us this was a figment of our imagination. And all of that shit changed on March 3rd, 1991, because for the first time that I ever remember, we caught them on tape. We got them on tape. There was a white man by the name of George Holliday who was standing on his balcony with his little camcorder, and he recorded a black man named Rodney King getting the brakes beat off of him. And black folks, we didn't like that woman Rodney King took, but we said, damn it, we got him now. We got you now. I remember we was calm. I don't give a damn. That videotape is real clear. That man is down there with handcuffs, and they all beating him. And those who weren't beating him, that was standing by, just as guilty.
Yeah.
But we was calm. We want to respect the judicial process. But what happened? America did what she did. She showed no value to us. Took them 4 officers in there. First of all, the mere fact that it was only 4 was problematic for me. But they took them 4 officers in there and acquitted them. And we burned this mother down. We don't need no water. Let them burn. We burned it down. So you wonder why Opal Tometi, Alicia Garza, Patrice Cullors, you wonder why those 3 sisters put together 3 words that turned this into one of the most powerful movements in our lifetime? You wonder why 3 simple words, Black Lives Matter, you wonder why it meant so much? because it was based in truth. You couldn't convince us that Black Lives Matter. When that little 17-year-old boy by the name of Trayvon Martin got killed for trying to go get some Skittles and you acquitted the fool that did it, how can you tell me all lives matter? Man, go on with that nonsense. Now, they can come up and tell us Black Lives Matter ain't a good organization. And now we start talking this nonsense about what ain't good and right about Black Lives Matter. But I'm gonna say this to you. In all of my life, I had never seen a law enforcement officer, a white law enforcement officer, be held accountable for what they did to our community. Those three sisters, Alicia Garza, Patrice Cullors, and Oportunity, that movement they started, God bless them. That's why I was so proud when I was at Clarkson University talking about the PHI convention. They want diversity. And I recommended those sisters for honorary doctorates, and it was granted. Shook the whole country, shook the whole college to the floor. It's about definition. We've allowed them to redefine what Black Lives Matter means. You'll never redefine it for me. You ever come to me and talk about all lives matter, and I'm not talking about just my white brothers and sisters in here. Some of you, there's some black maggots drinking that Kool-Aid. I want to slap the taste buds off you. Don't come to me with that. Unapologetically, don't come to me. It's about definition. Well, let's take a look at the current definition. What's the current definition? Charlie Kirk. Oh yeah, that's the current definition. How have they described Charlie Kirk? He's a good man. He values, he's got American values. He's a God-fearing man. That's the definition that they've given to Charlie Kirk. I got a different definition for Charlie Kirk.
Please.
Charlie Kirk said this to me, and don't come to me with that, you ain't sympathetic. Okay, tell me this, anybody. How is it that I'm supposed to be sympathetic when I hear this man say, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified? How am I supposed to be sympathetic when I hear him say, if you're a WNBA pot-smoking black lesbian, do you get treated better than a United States Marine? How am I supposed to think about this man when he says, and I quote, happening all the time in urban America, prowling young blacks go around for fun to go target white people. That's a fact. It's happening more. How am I supposed to feel when I hear him say, if I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who is a moronic black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence or is she there because of affirmative action? How am I supposed to feel when I hear him say about my queens, my sister, my mama? If we would have said that about Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called racist. Now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. You do not have the brain processing power otherwise to be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat serious. Those are not my words. I'm gonna ask you, if you think I'm insensitive, where's the God in what he said?
Right.
But you wanna have a day of remembrance. You want to put up a statue of him. Nah, I'm gonna tell you this, family. I ain't wishing ill on nobody. But the day that you think that somebody who had their knee on my proverbial neck, that somehow I'm gonna get up and start talking about glorifying, being sympathetic for him. Where do you do that at?
Where?
Now, and so that reminded me on this little thing he said about black women. So let me say this to you. There was a brother from our culture that moved me urgently His name was Malcolm X. On May 22nd, 1862, Brother Malcolm was down in California. And he gave one of the most profound speeches that put a sense of urgency in me about you. Brother Malcolm said, the most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. So I decided, Brother Malcolm, I'm gonna do a new calendar. Except this one is 366 days of nothing but black women. That was the So now I come to what Brother Malcolm said. And then there's the definition of affirmative action and diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so I have a question for you, family. I want you to raise your hands if you believe that you were an affirmative action or a diversity, equity, and inclusion hire. If you believe that you was an affirmative action hire or a DEI hire, raise your hands if you believe that. Okay. All right, that means I got one brave sister. Tell me your name, sister. You told her. Jasmine. Okay, Jasmine. See, right now, baby, you the only one in this room outside of me who are not allowing anybody else to define us. See, these people, all of you who sat there, somewhere in your soul, you don't want to look that deep, but damn it, look in the mirror right here and right now. And I'm not trying to be funny with you. I am dead fucking serious with you. Somewhere, you have accepted America's definition of affirmative action. And let me just stop right now. Let me say this to you. For those of you who are a little put off by my language, roll. Go ahead, roll. And they flew me all the way in here from Maryland. I don't want to speak no more. And when I looked at that video, it reminded me that it got some stuff burning up inside me. And based on what's going on, there's an urgency here. And I'm not here to sugarcoat that. Amen. So I want you to understand this. See, you all have accepted America's definition of affirmative action. And America has defined affirmative action as simply because of the color of your skin, simply because of your sex, simply because of your sexual orientation. That's the only reason you got the job. That's why Charlie Kirk can get so many people saying, yeah, if I walk on a plane and I see a black pilot, I'm disturbed, I'm worried. You all obviously think the same way. You didn't understand that it was our ancestors who fought, who bled, who died to give you the opportunity to get your job. They never fought to say to America, regardless of if Carl Mack is a little black boy in Mississippi. Mississippi State just give him a college degree in engineering. My ancestors did. Our ancestors did not fight for that. They fought for us to at least have the opportunity to get the roadblocks out of the way. Because I can promise you this, America, you damn sure kept us out just because of that skin color. So somewhere you have accepted America's definition of affirmative action. That's why you didn't raise your hand. I stand before you along with Sister Girl. I'm an affirmative action man. That's right. I remember after my freshman year at Mississippi State, when John Deere, what do I know about farm machinery being from Jackson, Mississippi? I don't know nothing about farm machinery. But I remember when John Deere came to Mississippi State and they were looking for a young minority student in engineering. And when they looked at, they got their standards. And when they looked at my qualifications, check. Now, if John Deere had come down to Jackson, and let's say I was working some job, but they were looking for an engineering student. I wasn't in college, and I wasn't in engineering, and they gave me the job. Now America got something to say. What does Charlie Kirk know about the resume of those black pilots? And for those of you want to in on a secret, since she tells you that black folks tell the truth, you want to know the secret. In the community, we always say, you can't be as good as white folks. You got to be twice as good as white folks. That's what we say in our community.
Yeah, that's right.
So this nonsense that you couldn't raise your hands to show homage to our ancestors who fought to give you the opportunity is because you don't know our history. None of you. Only one. Only one. Now I'm gonna ask you that question. No, I'm not gonna ask you that. Because I know the next time you better think real serious about it. You better get inside that history and understand what we fought for. Now, just in case you think that I'm kidding with this, because understand this, in that fight for the opportunity, if left to its own devices, do you think that America would have changed if our ancestors didn't fight, didn't push, didn't prod? Do you think America would have changed? No. Well, I'm gonna tell you this, they would have changed, but in the words of Dr. King, it would have been at a snail's pace, at a turtle's pace. Let me give you this as an example. You women, you sisters in the audience, and when I say sisters, now normally when I say brothers and sisters, I'm talking about mankind, I ain't on the skin color thing. When I say black folks, you will know. I'm there with that. But now women, every woman in this room, can anybody tell me when women finally got a chance to get credit in their own name? Can you tell me what year that was? 1973. If you're in the 70s, good. 1974. Up until 1974, you couldn't even get a credit card in your name.
I knew what 77.
Now let me tell you this. Why? Because white men ran everything.
Yep.
Okay? They ran everything. And they were some selfish rascals. On the floor of the United States Senate, there was a rule that a woman cannot walk on the floor of the Senate with pants on. Who changed that? I'll tell you who changed it. Carol Moseley Braun, the first black woman elected to the United States Senate. Her along with Barbara McCaskey. And when did they do this? 1993. If left to their own devices, if we had listened to Booker T. Washington in his Atlanta Compromise, cast down your pail. If we had done that, do you think in 2008 we would have elected the first black president of the United States? Do you believe that? No. If we had waited and didn't have the urgency, do you think that we would have ever had a female black vice president? No, there was an urgency that we understood. Now, speaking of the urgency within the NAACP, and Carl, you did a pretty good job, but you was 4 years too early. When you talk about the history of the NAACP, you don't start it at 1909. Back that thing on up to 1905, when we went to Fort Erie, Ontario, Canada. W.E.B. Du Bois and other brothers went there and they had a little movement called the Niagara Movement. And that Niagara Movement was because of the urgency of us fighting for our civil rights. And then from there, February, four years later, in 1909, and Carl, you're very good with that, my brother. On Lincoln's 100th birthday, February 12th, 1909, these brothers and sisters, different hues, looked like they could have been in this room, whites and blacks, formed the most revered organization in this country, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP. Now, today, and Carl was right about this, I want you to understand what people will say to you. The provocateurs, young sister, I want you to, this is just you and I don't want to listen to the rest of them, but you know what they're saying to you? And this is how Charlie Kirk was able to recruit so many, and I'm watching young blacks, and I don't never want to go on social media and see your pretty black face talking this nonsense. I'm going to find you, mama. Give me the permission to deal with her. Okay? I watch young blacks talk about, well, did you know that the Democrats were the ones that enslaved us, and the Republican Party freed us? As if to say, why are we Democrats today? And why ain't we Republicans today? So baby girl, this is what I want you to tell your provocateur when they come to you. I want you to give them the rest of this history lesson. I want you to ask them, the Republican Party today that you want me to put my allegiance to, Is this the same Republican Party that rolled back the 1964 Civil Rights Act? Is this the same Republican Party that has gotten rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion? They don't like diversity, they don't like equity, they don't like inclusion. So stop saying DEI. Call it what it is. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Which part of that don't they like? Is this the same party that has banned books about you and me? Is this the same party that is going inside the most sacred of institutions, museums, and saying, oh, I don't like that, that hurts my feelings, so let's get a can of white paint and paint over this part of it? Is this the same party that is down with taking SNAP benefits, but at the same time want to give the benefits to the farmers? Is that the party you're telling me about? Because see, this Republican Party today does not look like that Lincoln Republican Party. See, that Lincoln Republican Party, that was the one that fought for us to end slavery. That's the one that fought to give us citizenship. That's the one that set up the Freedmen's Bureau, because they looked at it and said, what are we going to do with these 4 million black folks? So they fought to give us land, education, and political power. That's why with the 14th Amendment, they gave us birthright citizenship. And with the 15th Amendment, they gave black men the right to vote. That was a whole different Republican Party. That ideology was nothing like these idiots today. So you finish that history lesson. But if you don't know that history lesson, they will define you, control you. Get inside your history. That is what's going to create the urgency for us today. But forgive me for my digression, and so let me go back to the NAACP. Because I understand historically the urgency of the NAACP. They felt an urgency to end lynching. They felt an urgency to block some of the judicial appointments by white nationalists. We felt an urgency to get rid of separate but not equal. We felt an urgency to address racism within labor unions. We felt an urgency for job discrimination in the U.S. military and defense. And I'm gonna tell you something, there was a whole lot of things that we felt an urgency for. Where is mine? This ain't mine. I'm gonna tell you something, put it up, put that card up there. Put it up there. I'm gonna show you this, family. I'm gonna show you this. Right there. There was a whole bunch of things that the NAACP felt an urgency for. And I remember, I was born in 1962, and I remember when my mama gave me this. The first field secretary for the NAACP in Mississippi was a black man named Mack Evans. He, along with his wife Merle, are the first family of Mississippi as far as I'm concerned. But it was Mack Evans and Merle Evans that fought to get rid of this. This is a poll tax card. In 1965, my mama had to pay $2 to vote. My mama had to sit down and take a literacy test to vote. This was the urgency that the NAACP addressed. For that, I will forever be grateful. That was the urgency that we felt at that time, and this is the urgency that we need to return to. So now, I come back and I say to you, this election that took place, there was a lot of speculation about it. Right. What does he mean by make America great again? There was a lot of speculation. But to a lot of us, we knew exactly what make America great again meant. It meant not only roll back some of the progress and the advances that we've gained, but it also means make America white again. Now, you could look at it and say, damn, Carl, everything's about race. It ain't that I'm making everything about race. I'm just telling you that's what history shows. See? Huh? Why do you think they read history? You don't think Jasmine Crockett scares the living hell out of them? Why are you rolling back diversity, equity, and inclusion? You told me that America was a meritocracy. Well, if there's a meritocracy, why are you afraid of Jasmine Crockett? If it's a meritocracy. Yeah. So in this last election, when I tell you that they elected, this country elected a racist. As a past president of the NAACP, I don't throw the word around lightly. I don't throw racism around lightly. There's a high bar for racism. So I want you to look at Donald Trump through my black eyes. Huh? Go back to 1972. when Donald Trump said, no, I'm not going to rent to you. He didn't want to rent to me strictly because I was black. I want you to go to 1989, when 5 young brothers, the exonerated 5, Central Park 5, exonerated 5, he takes out a full-page ad calling for the death penalty. And when it's all said and done, and the judicial process has worked and exonerated these brothers, I ain't apologizing for nothing. I want you to go to 2017, when Donald Trump says, there are good people on both sides as the white nationalists are marching to Charlottesville. I'm gonna tell you something right now. If you're running with a white nationalist, ain't a damn thing good about you from these eyes. Okay? I want you to go to 2018, when Donald Trump called African nations shithole countries. Huh? And then he gets, and if you don't think he's messing around with that, now he gets the plane and they go to South Africa and they pick up white immigrants, bring them to America and fast track them. You tell me what black country has he done that for? Just name me one. I got time. Now, in 2025, and this is the alpha and omega of Trump for me. Now, given that I told you that my urgency came because I've gotten inside of my history. And now you come to me and you tell me you want to ban the teaching of my history? You want to take battleships that have been named after Harriet Tubman or Thurgood Marshall or Medgar Evers, and you want to rename them. And while you in your whole renaming thing, you want to rename these forts, these military forts, after Confederate leaders. But I need you to slow down for a minute. In case you think I'm off rail here, the Confederacy fought to keep us enslaved. When you joined the Confederacy, you became a traitor to America. A traitor! And now you want to go and rename military forts after traitors? You look at this through my black eyes. That's what diversity says. I've looked at history through your eyes. Look at it through mine. How can I see him as anything other than that? And now he says to me about my black babies, they are born criminals. You please tell me what I'm missing. Come on with some sophisticated answer that you want to give to me. I'm from the mud, I'm simple. You don't piss on my head and try to convince me it's raining. I don't work like that, fam. Let me tell you something about me when I'm in this game. Racism and discrimination does not deserve diplomacy, and I offer it none. And for those of you who say, well, Donald Trump can't be racist, he hung around black folks. So did slave owners. Now, I want to say this. There's an urgency for us to save this democracy again. I said again. This won't be the first time that we have to be urgent in this. See, right now, I want you to go back to 1776, when we declared our independence from Great Britain. Right now, can you name me one black that fought in the American Revolution not named Crispus Attucks? Can you? No, you can't. That's why you're still acting like a visitor. See, they done co-opted they done co-opted the word patriots. Patriots like they're the ones. You go back and look at the American Revolution. There were between 5,000 and 8,000 blacks that took up arms for this country. And I'm not convinced that America would have won that war without us shedding blood. If there is a black patriot, if there's a patriot in America, now you just get with me here. If there's a patriot in America, ain't nobody more patriotic than us.
Amen.
Now, let me move this from the subjective opinion to a more objective opinion. See, white Americans, were fighting against one oppressor, King George. We were fighting against two oppressors, King George and America. Yet we took up arms anywhere between 5,000 and 8,000. And let me just walk you through history to give you a sense of urgency of our ability to have saved that country then and to save it now. Go back to when they talked about the Minutemen. They got 1 minute to get ready. Did they teach you about the Mule Haynes, baby girl? No, he was a black Minuteman, but there was about 39 other ones that looked just like him that were Minutemen. Go back to the Battle of Bunker Hill. Don't fire till you see the whites of their eyes. Did they tell you about Peter Salem and Salem Poor, who were black patriots that shot and killed British commanders? Go to the Battle of Brandywine. Did they tell you about Edward Hector? Go to Groton Heights. Did they tell you about Joy Freeman? No. Did they tell you about the black spy, Lafayette Armstead? No, they didn't tell you that. That's why you're still acting like a visitor. Right. We saved this country. America was in labor. We were in the birthing room pulling her out with everybody else. That's my birthright to this country. Right. Yeah. And now we got to do this thing all over again. It is urgent that we do it again. Why? Because now we're watching this guy in this country take the one document that we've all said we respected, the Constitution, and now treat it like it's a list of recommendations. The First Amendment, freedom of speech, press, religion. Now you don't like Jimmy Kimmel? You don't like Colbert? And you call up Mickey and Minnie and tell them to take the cheese away from them? Why do you do that? You now take American troops and you rush them into American cities, run by black folks, most occupied by black folks. You decide that in this time of hate and terrorism, and with the number of threats that she's faced, that you now want to pull the Secret Service away from Kamala Harris. You now want to nationalize the free market. Wow. Tell NVIDIA and AMD that if you're going to do business in China, you got to pay us. The Federal Reserve, that's responsible for protecting this economy, for 111 years, has worked in a bipartisan move, not even a bipartisan, worked completely, the word is independent. We have fought to keep the independence of the Fed. And now this numbskull comes in with his taco tariffs. One day the tariff is in, next day the tariff is out. And now the economy is draining, and he wants the interest rates low to make it look good. So he goes out to Jerome Powell and Wall Street, the powers that be, say, back away. And Trump backs away. But then he comes again. And who does he come after? Lisa Cook. Ain't even got proof of it, but he does it. And Wall Street hushes. Well, we just got to let the courts deal with it. You didn't want the courts to deal with it when he was coming out to Jerome Powell. This man is rocking the very foundation of this democracy. And it is urgent that we step to the plate in this land they call this Christian nation. I'm a Sunday school dropout, Pastor, you know this. But in this Christian America, let me give you this analogy. If Trump was Judas and he betrayed Jesus, America would say, Jesus got what he deserved. If Trump was Judas and he betrayed Jesus, America would say, lock him up. If Trump was Judas and he betrayed Jesus, America would say, ain't he from Bethlehem? He's an illegal immigrant. Crucify him. It is up to us with an urgency to save this little experiment we call democracy. So as I come to a close, excuse me, as I come to a close, video. And if I wouldn't come in here, I wouldn't have been looking at it. And I thought back to what had to be going on in my mind. My young cat then, Mike. I'm an old man now. Tell you this. Now, what might not have been clear in that video was this. I was an engineer with King County government. I got arrested protesting King County government. Now, this ain't Hollywood. So when they put them handcuffs on me, I'm like, yeah, I'm taking this on. I'm down with the people. I'm down with the people. Shit wasn't sexy no more when that jail cell slammed. Bam! Right at that point, I said, damn, Carl, you in jail. You in jail. And at that point, Jamie, now my ex-wife, good sister, I swear to God, she's a good woman. Because she was with her brother every step of the way. But I thought to myself when that jail cell closed, I said, Carl, your ass is in jail. I started questioning what I did. Jenny and I had been married for 2 years. Joshua was born, he was a year old, and we had just bought a new house. I had a big mortgage. I mean, big, anything over 50,000 is big. I had a mortgage. But that's the situation I was facing. And I began to question whether or not I did the right thing. I really did. I began to question. And right at that time that I began to question that, history came to me. I've been telling y'all all night long the urgency of now. The catalyst for me was history. And at that moment, that was so dark for me, that shook me to my core. History came and bailed me out. And it said this to me, the voice. I don't want to give you the impression that it's going to be easy. There can be no great social gain without individual pain. Before the victory for brotherhood is won, some will have to get scarred up, Carl. Before the victory is won, some more will be thrown into jail. Before the victory is won, some, like Mack, may have to face physical death. But if physical death is the price that some must pay to free our children and our white brothers from an eternal psychological death, and Carl, nothing can be more redemptive. Before the victory is won, some will be misunderstood and called bad names. But we must go on with the determination and with the faith that this problem can be solved. It bailed me out. History bailed me out. That's what I'm saying to you, family. You right here in Kitsap County, you got a wonderful NAACP. But it is an urgency that they need. We need to be involved. It's easy for me or anybody else to get up here and talk shit about Trump. It's easy for you to go home and talk shit about what the NAACP ain't doing. But take a hard look in that mirror and ask yourself, what are you doing to help? There's an urgency right here. There's an urgency right now to be involved with this NAACP. And God bless you, Bremerton, and thank you so much.